Hello there, everybody, and happy Monday to all of you. I do hope that you had a restful weekend and that you're going to have a great week ahead. I'm going to do my best to help and, put energy towards facilitating that. So we're going to see what comes up for you for the week ahead. If you're new here, very welcome. My name is Shireen, and here at Era Aces, we do a weekly reading on a Monday to see what the energies of the week ahead are and how we can possibly best navigate them with a bit of help from our spirit friends. Okay, from the spiritual realm, your guides, guardians, angels, ancestors, whatever your belief system is. And then to my returning dedicated followers and existing clients, thank you for always being here and always coming back. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Okay, so today we've got 3 decks that I'm going to be using here. We've got the Activation Oracle, we've got the Shamanic Healing Oracle, and then we've got Angel Therapy. And we're going to see what comes up. I was called to use these cards today for whatever reason. We're soon to find out. And we'll see what comes up. All right. A sip of water. Okay. Thank you to all of you who participated in the energy sessions last night. I do feel like it was quite a powerful energy session, or quite a powerful energy last night with the moon in Libra. This is something that's still going on. And this is balance, justice, anything to do with the judicial system, any legal issues you're having going on. Things where you feel like your body, your mind, your spirit, your life needs to get back into balance in some way. This is the time to be setting those intentions. Okay. All right. So we're going to start off with the Activations Oracle, Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle. And we're going to just see what pops up. So can we see what energies we are perhaps dealing with this week, please? Or what we need to know or focus on? Let's see what comes up. Leave it up to them. I'm going to take 3. Oh, no, I'm going to take 5 apparently. Okay. Soul time. The frequency of soul time asks us to allow the possibilities of a new reality to emerge, one that embraces the concept that while the corporeal body is mortal, the soul is timeless, limitless, and infinite. Okay, so don't get stuck in your current reality or think where I am is where I'm stuck forever. All right, that's the message I'm getting. And this mindset alone, I feel, can bring more stability in some way or another for you. Okay, and then I think the order is like this. Okay, first one says Gaia. This is a number 10 as well, showing the ending of a cycle. All right, and Gaia says, the frequency of Gaia reminds us that we are infinitely connected to one another, just as we are to our great mother and to the universe that birthed us all. The message that I'm getting from this card is that nothing is ever lost to us. So whether that is a thing or a person or an animal or whatever it is, it's reminding you of that connectedness and perhaps helping you to actually close some chapters in your life based on that. All right, if you've been struggling with anything that comes from a past connection to, I've even had people discussing with me that they struggle with a past connection they had to an animal or something like this. I feel like it's time for that closure. It's time for self-forgiveness if that's what needs to happen there. But remember that you're always connected. You actually never lose that person or that beautiful little animal soul or whoever it might be, whatever it might be. Stuff is not important. Okay, the soul is important. The connections are important. And I also feel like we need to be willing to nurture those connections while we still have them in the physical, so that we do have the best spiritual connection that we could have. Okay, healing. The frequency of healing supports our intrinsic, sorry, I can't read today. I know that word, I promise. Our intrinsic ability to restore our health and wholeness by consciously using the information that comes to us through our senses and harmonizing everything accordingly. Okay, so we restore health and wholeness by consciously using the information that comes to us through our senses and harmonizing everything accordingly. So if you are also maybe having some health issue, or you just are not really taking notice of your body or your health, this is asking you to listen to your body to bring yourself back into balance. The 9 and the 2 is also number 11, which is about this balance that we're talking about. When I was talking about Libra, Libra is the scales, it's about balance. And I feel like you might be having sensations where your body's trying to tell you something, it's trying to communicate, but maybe we are just too busy in our day, or we're ignoring signs of something, and maybe there's something you need to take care of, or you just need to bring your consciousness to it and say, oh, you know what, I'm feeling a bit off because maybe I ate too much of this, or I'm not eating the right foods, or I'm not drinking enough water, or I need to get some rest. See what your body's telling you, because I feel like that is imperative right now. Okay, then we had coherence. The frequency of coherence supports our ability to harmonize the frequency of the heart with the frequency of the mind for an optimal ability to create the reality that we desire. Okay, so it's literally that coherent balance again. And this is a number 4, which sometimes shows balance or something that supports us. It brings grounding energy. It shows the potential for expansion and growth from that place. And it's saying, again, that mindfulness, you know, your ability to harmonize the frequency of your heart with the frequency of your mind, that is how manifestation works. We have a thought, we have an elevated emotion about that thought, and we think how wonderful it would be for things to be that way, or for us to achieve that thing. And that's where that coherence and that synergy between the mind and the heart and that elevated emotion, that's what brings things into the physical 3D. The elevated emotion is the secret to the manifestation. So once you've got that coherence, you can bring things into being. You can bring your own kind of healing. This is making me think a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza. If none of you have heard of him before, he talks about that head-heart coherence, and he's been a facilitator of his own miraculous healing, where they told him he'd never walk again, and the healing of others as well. So if you're interested, maybe look into Dr. Joe Dispenza. Might speak to you in some way. And he also, this soul time, he talks, he's got a video and a book called Overcoming the Habit of Being Yourself, something like that. I'm not 100%, that's not 100% right. Maybe it is, but it's something to the effect of overcoming the habit of being yourself. And he's got another book called Becoming Supernatural. But you can also look these things up on YouTube, and they're fantastic. They were very important in me making certain shifts for myself in my life. All right, so he talks about this soul time, the possibility of a new reality to emerge, one that embraces the concept that while the corporeal body is mortal, the soul is limitless, timeless, and infinite. Okay, and here is change. There's definitely chapters closing. There's definitely new beginnings and fresh starts. Don't let your head make you think otherwise and think things are never going to change, okay? The frequency of change supports our ability to gracefully dance with the forever changing nature of reality, both inward and outward, so that we can appreciate the sweet release of the old and the birth of the new. That is wonderful. What is not wonderful is that I don't think I'm going to fit them all into this frame, but maybe we can just do that a little bit. Yeah, it looks good. All right, I feel like tapping into our intuition right now and really focusing, trying to do a meditation or something, even if it's a 10-minute meditation. There's millions of them on YouTube as well. There's some in my profile that I've linked that are 10-minute meditations, if I'm not mistaken. So if you'd like to go and look on my YouTube profile, I think I've made notes of some of those, or I've saved them in a folder that's public. Okay, so we're just going to give a little shuffle here to the Shamanic Healing Oracle deck. I have pre-shuffled all of these just for things to go a bit quicker once we start the reading. Interesting. Very cool, actually. Gaia, healing, coherence, change. I do feel like this is really waking up the third eye a bit more for a lot of people. That is where your intuition comes from, you know. How spirit speaks to us, how our guides and guardians guide us. It comes through that inner knowing, through that vision, through that gut instinct that we get. So pay attention to that, because that is also a part of paying attention to your physical body, that it might be telling you things. Your gut instinct will tell you if something's good for you or it's bad. Don't touch that thing, don't go that way. Or yes, this is good for you, pursue this. It'll make you feel compelled to pursue something. Okay, let's see what else. They're just popping up. The sacred space. There we go. This is that soul time. You see, making that sacred space. Make a sacred space for yourself. In your home, perhaps, where you sit and do your meditations. Make a little corner where you have a couple of crystals or something that is sentimental to you, something that is beautiful, some flowers, whatever it is, to remind you of spirit, to remind you to connect, to remind you to ask when you need something or when you simply need guidance. I feel like this sacred space is also you as your soul. Remember that that is a sacred space. Remember to set healthy boundaries. Remember to respect your own space and, you know, always be willing to help others and to give, but not at your own expense. Maybe there's even a place that you can go to nearby that is a park or some kind of spiritual retreat area. Maybe you're going on a retreat or something of the sort, but I feel as if that sacred space is very much aligned with the soul time. Okay, and that's what it's telling you to do. So a sacred space doesn't have to be a physical space. You can make that sacred space. You can also honor the sacred space within yourself, which is your heart, your energy, and your manifestation comes from there. You can, maybe you need to regard your body more as a sacred space. But make that time for yourself. I do feel like other people come into this as well. So I don't know if it would be a group that you would like to be with and do a group meditation or something along these lines. But I also feel like the change might be to open yourself up to that a little bit more, even if it's in tiny increments. If you're not really a people person or you've been a little bit withdrawn or something along these lines, maybe even through something like YouTube or the internet or something along those lines, you can start small and not have to join a group of people where you have to meet up every week physically, but you can start with an online group or something like this. Okay, if you are feeling a bit hermit-like, or you have been for the past months or years. Okay, the next one to pop out does not go that way. Okay, slow but steady. There's your tortoise. Slow but steady wins the race. And through everything that he has to kind of navigate or overcome, he's walking through what looks like a storm here. It's saying slow but steady. And there's the number 3. Here's the number 3, there's the number 3, there's the number 3. And it's like, again, I feel like there could be other support. Even if the support is in spirit, I feel like that's not a bad thing. And you just need to be mindful of that and incorporate them into whatever it is you need, your healing or whatever it is, and be patient with yourself, be gentle with yourself in whatever it is that you're moving through. Be patient and gentle with yourself through the change. You know, change can feel very tumultuous and intense, but we can also embrace the change in a gentle way and take things step by step and not overwhelm ourselves. Okay, and through that we govern whatever it is that we're working through. What else do we need to know here, please? This is very healing-centric, actually. Sexual energy. All right. Let me just read here. The frequency of healing supports our intrinsic ability to restore our health and wholeness by consciously using the information that comes to us through our senses and harmonizing everything accordingly. All right, so maybe some of you need to work on the sacral chakra as well, because this is about sexual energy. The root chakra as well. Maybe you're doing some work with your Kundalini awakening or something like that. But I feel like there's a lot of stuff that is from past relationships as well that people need to heal. Maybe if in your younger life you were a bit promiscuous, maybe you got yourself into, you know, a certain situation, or maybe you found yourself in a certain situation that was not of your own doing. Whatever that is, it's asking you to call that energy back to yourself, to find ways to work with it so that you can bring healing from that situation and you can actually have that change, close old chapters, open new doors, live your life more fully because you are healed to the best of your ability from a particular situation and you don't allow that to hold you back. All right, I feel like that is a very important message for certain specific people as well. Let's see what else we need to work on healing. I think everything's about healing this week. Unlimited possibilities, coherence. You see, this is all about this manifestation and the ability to find that coherence between the head and the heart, the wish that you have, the image that you have in your mind, and applying that energy to actually bring that about. And say, you know, I often use this analogy where if you were buying a new car and you wanted to manifest that car, you imagine that you go to the dealership, they give you the keys, and you get into the car, and you engage yourself completely and, you know, intensely on an emotional level in that visualization. And you get into the car and you feel yourself sit in the seat and you hold the steering wheel and you can feel the upholstery and the leather or whatever it is. You can smell the smell of the new car. Engage all of your senses and get that elevated, excited feeling of like, oh my goodness, it's actually happening. This is wonderful. I'm so excited. Let me put the key, let me crank it up and let's go for a ride. That elevated emotion is what I'm talking about. Without that feeling, you can visualize sitting in the car until the cows come home, but it's not going to manifest unless you get that elevated feeling, because your body doesn't know the difference between the truth and a lie. So you tell it a little white lie about, wow, this is so exciting, this has really happened, and it manifests in your physical 3D. That is where the miracle comes in, from you manifesting that energy from that heart energy that's being emitted, that signal that's being emitted of, wow, this wonderful thing is actually happening in my life. Your body doesn't know the difference, and it thinks, oh, this wonderful thing is happening in your life, and that creates a physical manifestation. Give it a try. If you've been trying to manifest for ages and you have been neglecting to actually have the physical feeling of how you would celebrate that situation and how excited and pumped you would be, then that's your missing ingredients. Okay, unlimited possibilities. This is again a chapter closing. A 9 and a 1 is a 10. And I feel like also with these things here, slow and steady, be gentle with yourself, make a sacred space, realize your sacred space. I feel like this is very much for a lot of women who might have been through something difficult, a lot of men who might have been through something difficult. It could be of a relationship, sexual nature as well. There's unlimited possibilities. Don't think that you can't heal from this, is what it's saying. And I'm also getting the number 1818. 1818. Okay, so maybe some of you need to just Google 1818 angel number and see what comes up for you there. I get it a lot, but I can't remember what it is. Okay, let's see what else, please. There we go. Abundance. All right, so when we embrace this change, when we find this coherence, when we are making that commitment to heal from something, we are going to find that it opens up energy for us. And I feel like this is really what this change is. If you've been battling with certain things, and abundance doesn't just mean money, hey, it's an abundance of happiness, abundance of friendship, an abundance of whatever it is that you want to manifest into your life. This is where that stability comes in. This is the change that is possible, is to bring abundance into your life. If you've been feeling like you are deprived, or you lack certain things, or the world doesn't, isn't as generous with you as it is with other people, whatever the case is, I feel like this is the potential for this to change, and you are the key as well. Spirit's there waiting. The potential is always out there in the ether. We just have to grab it. We need to manipulate it. We need to remember that we are our own magicians in our lives. And that abundance is possible. There are unlimited possibilities for you. Embrace the healing. Close the chapters. Have the courage to do that. Ask them to give you the courage to do that if you feel like it's very difficult. Okay, but this change is imminent. It needs to happen as well. There will be external factors that push you in that direction a lot of the time and will force you to do something because it's ultimately going to be for your highest good. Okay, let's I've just looked at the bottom of the deck and it's joy. That is what can come from this. Abundance and joy can come from doing this inner work. Okay, and there's growth at the bottom of the deck. It's really they're trying to get a message through to abundance, growth, joy, divine timing. This is the time for the change to happen so that you can have the healing that you need in whatever way, shape, or form it's coming. Okay, and I feel like that's the last card that I must pull for that. And then I was going to use the angel therapy. Okay, this kind of makes sense now because we seem to be very much about healing things that are emotional, mental, and maybe physical. So let's give him one more shuffle. And let's see what comes up. Okay. What do we need from this deck, please, for the sacred space and soul time or whatever else needs to come through? Throat chakra. All right, I was actually going to mention this because I feel like in certain situations, if we do feel stuck or we need healing, it's going to be around speaking our truth, okay? The angels are helping you lovingly speak your truth. Maybe you need to have a tough conversation with somebody, or maybe you just need to tell the truth about something. Maybe you need to say it wasn't like this, it was actually like that. Maybe you need to go and speak to a counselor and finally voice something that you haven't said or that's been sitting there for years. All right, but speak your truth. If you want to work on your throat chakra, I do energy sessions for throat chakras as well to open it up. That is your conduit for truth. If you've been feeling dumbed down, if you feel like you've never been able to speak, you're always shut down, maybe you need some healing there. Maybe that's something that's been stuck there for years that needs to be released. And that will often manifest in us getting a sore throat or laryngitis or pharyngitis all the time, where we lose our voice because we feel like we don't have a voice in a situation. In extreme cases, it can be things like thyroid issues, goiter. That is really extreme. But if you feel that blockage, if you're always going and you can't ever get your throat clear, it might be a physical manifestation, which usually occurs when something's been going on for a long time. Okay. Let's see what else. What else do we need to know, please? Maybe you need to find a sacred space where you can share things and speak freely. Maybe that's what you need. Maybe it's a support group. Release. Work with Archangel Michael to let go of what no longer serves you or your purpose. That's exactly how you close chapters. That's exactly how you have new beginnings. Archangel Michael, I thought of now when I said earlier, if you don't feel like you have the courage to take something on, if you don't feel like you have the courage to speak up, Archangel Michael is a protective energy, but he also gives us the strength and the courage that we need at certain moments. He'll give you the courage if you need to speak up, or if you need to advocate for yourself, or whatever the case is. And this brings release. This brings the healing. Let go of what no longer serves you or your purpose. Okay, what else, please? You are profoundly clairvoyant. Oh, what a beautiful picture. I've never actually seen this card before. I'm mad about mermaids, if no one's noticed. I do a lot of mermaid readings. That's beautiful. Trust what you see in your mind's eye as well as with your physical sight, for your spiritual vision helps you with healing, teaching, and guidance. You know, I was actually having a conversation last night about how our misfortune and what we perceive as trauma at the time, and it is legitimately trauma, but we see it as bad luck or whatever we might go through. How that often in the work I do particularly comes forward, where I've been through certain things that all of a sudden my clients will be going through, and I can actually relate. And when I say to them, I know how you feel, I'm not lying about it. I can genuinely empathize with them and offer that support. Maybe you are that person for somebody else. And a lot of the time, our clairvoyance comes through just to tell us, hey, you know what, whatever you've been through, you can talk to this person about, because they're going through this thing and they need support, and they need the support you didn't have. Or maybe you can show them a shortcut to the end of this difficult situation because you've been there, done that, and you went the long way. Okay, so we all have clairvoyant psychic ability, okay, to a lesser or larger degree. We are born with it. We've often had things where it's like, just don't go down that road, or don't go to that party. You know, you have those gut instincts, or I really should go here. I feel like something good's going to happen, then something good happens. That's your gut instinct. That's your clairvoyance. That's your intuition. So don't think that you don't have any. All right, it will happen, whether it's about traffic, or you've got a bad feeling about somebody and you phone them and they actually need support. That's when this kind of thing can happen. Okay, trust what you see in your mind's eye, as well as with your physical sight. So there's very likely going to be things coming through in dreams, or in like a daydream that you have, or you maybe you're seeing other things that are like, you know, when they say in your mind's eye, that's a lot of very much how most psychics see things, is you see something in your mind's eye. Like even when people see spirits, you can see that it's not a real person sometimes, and you see it in your mind's eye more than you see it in the physical. Like your eyes are open, you can see it there, you know it's there, but it doesn't look like everything else. And perhaps you get a flash of something, or a daydream, or something where you have an experience that is beyond just the physical. So keep an eye out for those. Okay, what else do we need to know, please? Mediumship. Wow, there we go again. Okay, I do feel like there's a lot of people that are making contact with loved ones. I have noticed that I have more mediumship readings coming in at the moment as well. But we need to know that we can ask for contact in dreams, or maybe we've had those contacts before, or we have an experience where we do see our loved ones that have passed, and we see them in our mind's eye. Keep an eye out for this, because your psychic ability is definitely changing, and even the planetary alignments are facilitating that. All right. It says here you have the natural ability to connect with departed loved ones. All right. You can just speak to them too. They hear us all the time. It's us who battles to hear them. Okay. So if you speak to them and you want to tell them something, I promise you, the minute you connect to their energy, they hear you. Be willing to forgive. All right, that is a huge part of healing. And let nobody tell you that healing is pretty or healing is pleasant. Healing is rough. And it's not for sissies. And not everybody can pluck up the courage to do what they need to do healing. Healing's not easy. All right, everyone says, oh, it's light and love. And, you know, healing just is bestowed upon you and it comes so easily. I disagree. Healing is difficult. Just like when you go for an operation, the recovery period is sometimes worse than the actual operation. Slow and steady. Give yourself the time that you need. It says, ask the angels to clear your mind and body of past pain in exchange for peacefulness. All right, so there's a lot of, sometimes when that past pain passes through you, that can be difficult. We cry as hard as the day it happened. Again, it's not always pretty. And but that is, you release that pain in exchange for peacefulness. And I feel like that really can happen for a lot of people right now. There may be loss. Maybe there's loss you need to make peace with from years ago. But be open, be receptive, see how it comes through. There's your last message. Listen to your intuitive feelings. We couldn't be getting that stronger if we tried. Your body is receiving accurate messages from the divine. So whether it's a pit of your stomach feeling and you know something's not good, or you feel butterflies and excited, be very in tune with your body, because your body tells you what spirit is trying to tell you. Okay, I leave you with that, and I wish you a very, very wonderful week ahead. Please take care, and I send you lots of love. Bye for now.